Yep, yep. I have started the recording.
All right. Thank you so much for confirming. I'll share my screen. Let me know once you're able to see it.
Yeah, Ritika, I can see your screen. Yeah, you are good to go.
Here, but is my screen visible?
Yeah, Ritika, yeah. We can see your screen. You are good to go. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, Ritika? Hello, can you hear me?
I'm
Can
sorry,
anyone
somehow.
please confirm? Can anyone please confirm that they can hear me?
I
Arpit,
can
I
hear you
can.
well, Arpit.
Yeah, so
Yes, Arpit.
Ritika, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know how, but my speaker got muted. So I'm
Okay, no
sorry.
worries. So we can see your screen. You are good to go. Yeah, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you for confirming.
No worries.
All right. So, welcome everyone. Today I'll be talking about how you can deal with data in the Power Apps portal when you're working with different entities and when you want to build a complex application. So, I'll start with the basic details or the out of the box features that exist, and then I'll move a little bit towards the scripting side and then towards the liquid programming template language. So let's get started. A little bit about myself. I work as a cloud specialist based out of India, and I have been working on the Power Platform for about 2 years now. I am specialized in Power Apps and Power Apps portals. I have been recently awarded with Microsoft MVP Award for Business Applications category. I am also a Microsoft certified trainer and a UG leader for Hyderabad Power Apps and Power Automate user group. So if you want to connect with me on my Twitter or my email, or if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. The last one on the bottom of your screen is a personal blog that I update frequently. So this is where I update about all the learnings and all the tips and tricks or any debugging that I have done on the portal and which could be helpful for you as well. So if you want, you can check that out. Now let's move towards the overview of this session. I am going to cover these four topics. First is like, why is data important? Why do we want to restrict it on the Power Apps portal? Then I'll talk about the out of the box feature, which includes entity lists, entity forms, and then there are certain operations that we can do over them. So I'll cover those. Then I'll introduce some scripting concepts using the jQuery scripts, where that can be used to enhance the features of out of the box controls. And then finally, I'll pick an example of using fetch XML to build a page from scratch. So let's get started. First of all, for the Power Apps portal, where is all this data coming from? If we talk about Power Apps portal, the single source of truth is Common Data Service, and recently the name we call it now Project Oakdale. So let's stick with the CDS for now, and let's move forward with the session. So Common Data Service, it's a data source where we can have all the data in the form of entities, and these entities can be interrelated. So whatever data I'm going to display on the portal, it is coming from one or another entity. And if there are any relationships, those can be managed on the portal only. The major problem when we talk about external websites is data security. Data security in terms of if I'm sharing this application with a user, someone who does not have access to a specific record, they should not be able to see it. So it's like record based security. A specific person who is logged in into my application, he or she should only be able to see the data which is meant for them, or which is actually useful for them. If I am going to share this application with more than, let's say, 10 organizations, then to maintain the credibility of my data, I may want to restrict the access to all the records organization wise. So if a person who belongs to organization A, if they are accessing my portal, I do not want them to see the data for organization B. So this is where the entity permissions comes in, and we can specify very granular level of permissions. So in case, let's say there is an entity ABC, and if I want to assign just read access, I can select that read access. And after selecting that access, I can choose if the scope of this entity permission will be global, or it will be based on an account or a contact, or maybe on a parent entity permission. So those kind of granular details can be set on the app, and we can choose which data will be displayed to each user. Moving forward, I have a few demos designed for this session. So first I'll be looking in the entity list, then I'll move forward to entity forms, and then I'll show you an example of custom filtering in an end-to-end relationship. And then finally we'll move forward with the fetch XML queries. So my session is mostly like where I want to do some hands-on. So that's like the end of my slides. I'll go to the portal now. So in here, I have a portal. This is the default template portal, which I created. And I have created two pages here. One is for the candidates, and this is a blank page now. What I am going to do is, I am going to get the data from my entity. So if I go back to my entities here, there is an entity candidate details. In here, I have a few fields like what is the name of this candidate, which city or which country they belong to, which account is it. So account here I'm using as like organizations, different organization candidates. And then I have few other fields. And then for the relationships, I have two different entities, skills and technology. So they are like here. Let me open that real quick. So in skills, it's like there is a name and the associated technology. So if I go to see the data here, and yeah, so here only I can see that there is a skill, and each skill is associated to a technology. So similarly, this kind of a relationship is built, and I have a number of records in this candidate details. So let's see how we can, use the out of the box controls and display all this data on my Power Apps portals. So for doing any of the configurations for this demo, I'll be using the portal management app. Here I'm going to go in the left menu and select entity lists. So this is the one I have already created just in case something is not working or other things, but let's start with a new one here. So now I need to give this a name. What entity list is like a table with all the columns, and in this table, those columns will be displayed for which the view has been selected. So let me start by building this up. I'll name this demo candidate, and the entity name will be candidate details. This is the one. And then for the website, since I'm working on the starter portal, so I'll be selecting that only, starter portal, and then I expanded the view, and here I'll add which view I want to display. So here it's like I have an option to select any of the views. For now we are going with the active candidate details, but if in case you have a different view where it might be possible that there are other filters or other things or other sort orders, then you can select your specific view. But here let's go with the active candidate details. Now I'll scroll down to see the other options. I can also choose like the number of records I want to display on a specific list. So here the number is 10. And then for viewing the details, so there are two things. When I display a list here, a table with all the records, I want something where I can actually go in and drill to the details of that specific record. So let's say if I open candidate A, then I should be able to see all the other details of all the other fields I have and all the other relationships that exist. So for now, what I'll do is I have created a separate page, which is candidate detail. So this is the page. This page is also blank as of now. We'll be configuring this in some time. So let's select candidate details here. And for identification, I have used the ID parameter that will be appended to the URL. And for the details button, I'll just say something like view. Okay, so let's save this as a basic configuration and let's see how it looks on my portal. So since I have made the changes now, I'll clear the cache. And I'll come back to this page where I want to display the details. I'll just refresh this so that it has all the latest configuration. Now what I need to do is I need to select that entity list so it should be displayed on the page. Now my page is loaded. I'll go to edit, and in the entity list I'll select this one, the one we just created, demo candidates list, and I'll save this. So once it is saving, it will recognize what form was added and then it will display as part of the screen. I have made a few changes to web template here so that whatever form or list I'm selecting in these tabs, they'll be directly displayed on my page. So now I can see that there are like 4 records which exist in my entity, and I can see any of these. And if I click on any of the records here, details will not be displayed because we have not associated any form or any similar control which is going to actually show the details. But one thing worth noticing is like now I have this URL here. It points to candidate details page and it has appended a ID. This ID is the unique identifier for my candidate 4 record. So this is how it works. Whatever record I select from the list here, the same is the ID of that item is extracted and then it is passed on to a different page. And this works when we have this for this ID string parameter name. So if I have passed this as ID, it will be recognized as ID only. Now this is like a very simple list here. Let's add some kind of search functionality and let's add a few filters here. So I'll go back on the entity list record and I'll enable the search, and placeholder text I'll say something like enter search item, and then I'll save it. Let me go back to this admin page and clear the cache. If I come back on this page and again refresh it, so now here I can see that there is a search bar automatically added for me. This is like out of the box functionality. I just need to go in and select a few configurations here and there, and this is what I get. I can see a search bar here, and if I want to search a few candidate B, and if I click this button, I can filter out these results. But every time no one wants to just search the results. There might be a situation where we actually want to filter by, let's say, status reason or by city or by country. So let's see how we can add that. If I scroll further down on my entity list record here, I can choose if there are any filter conditions. If I want to display only the candidates which are associated to my login account, I can select those. I'll come back to this later where I'm actually going to select this and show you the difference. But let's go with the metadata filter now. If I enable this here, select the orientation as horizontal and name the apply button as something like apply. So since the relationship between the candidate entity and the city and country entity is like a lookup 1:n relationship, so what I need to do is I need to select this dynamic lookup set here, and I'll select the relationship on which I want to apply this filter. So I'll select the country first, and I want this to be displayed as a drop down list. And now I need to select which view for countries will be considered to actually show in details on my lists there. So now it has automatically selected the name column, name field from my country entity, and this is how it will be. Now let's add another one for cities. So I'll select the relationship as city, selection again, drop down list, view I'll select as active city, and then name. I'll save this, go back, clear the cache and refresh it again. When the page will be loaded here, even though I'll see the drop downs present here, but if I click on any of these, they are empty. The reason behind that is like we need to assign entity permissions to these, even if this is like a secondary entity, because right now we are working on the candidate details entity. Country and city are like the related entities, so we need to specify entity permissions for those. I'll duplicate this tab so that we have the entity list open here, and then I'll go to entity permissions. So now let me create a new permission here, and I'll say I want to this will be the permission on country entity. Website is going to be starter portal, and the scope for now I'll just say global. And here, like I was talking, we can select which privilege we want to give this entity permission as. So for now we just want to read the details of city and country, so I'll go with the read access. And if there are any other requirements where I want to let's say write data to this entity, I can select all the appropriate permissions. So what I'll do, I'll save this, and then I need to select who are actually going to retrieve these permission. So I want the administrators and the authenticated users to be able to filter this data. And I'll go back on this page and clear the cache. Come back here. For now I just created the entity permission for country, so city will still be empty, but I can see the details or the options that are available for country here. So if I let's say want so we have one data for Afghanistan, so I'll select that and apply the filter. So this way you can add number of filters here in case you want to filter it out, or you want to give an option to be able to filter this data. And regarding the design, if we don't want to place this filter control on the top of the screen, there is an option to place it on the left side as a menu bar. So for that, what we need to do is, where we have selected this metadata filter, instead of selecting the orientation as horizontal, we should be selecting the vertical one. So that's for like the entity list here. I have selected the country, I have selected I have not added the option for city, but if the same permission is assigned to city, we'll be able to see those details here. Now let me refresh this page. One thing is like here I'm seeing all the details. So what if I want to restrict users to be only able to see records that are associated to their account? So if I go back to contacts and I check the contact record through which I am logged in, so here I'm going to check the account which is associated. So the company name is org01, and here on my candidate details entity, I have a field for account. So let's assign a few records an account. So let me go with this candidate A. Okay, so this is already assigned. Let me then show the custom fields because the account field is not here. So I'll go to custom fields, and here org01 is assigned to two records, A and B. So what I'll do now is I'll go back to the contacts here, go to entity permissions and create a new permission for candidate details, and I'll select the candidate details entity. The website is going to be starter portal. The scope is going to be accounts because I wanted to filter it out based on the account. And here as soon as I select this account scope, it is going to display this field, and there is only one field which has in relationship to account. So it's displayed. In case there are multiple fields, you can choose which one to use. And I'll select this one. I want to read, write. We are not creating and deleting the record, so I'll leave those permissions and I'll click save. Now I want to assign a web role again. Who are the users which are targeted for this? Administrators and authenticated users. So that's done. But still, if I refresh this page after clearing the cache, it will not reflect my changes. The reason is because I have not enabled entity permission on this list. So it's going to display all the records. Yeah, so I can still see 4 records even after creating an entity permission. So what needs to be done now? In here, if I go back to my entity list record, I can see an option for enable entity permissions. If I enable this, then it will inherit all the entity permissions that are related to this entity and apply those on my portal. So if I again clear the cache of this, my page, so now I should only be able to see 2 records which are like candidate A and B, which is expected out of what we have configured as part of the backend entities. Now we have this list configured as per our accounts. What if I want to, view these details, or if I want to actually see what exists in these records? So right now the page is empty. We'll go back here on the entity list, and instead of this, I'm going to create an entity form this time. I'll click on new. I'll enter like demo entity, and I'll select the entity as candidate details. Now it is going to ask me which form do I want to display as part of it. So it's going to be web main form. And if you want to display a specific tab, you can select it from here. But since I have one tab only and I want to display it all, so I'm going to leave it blank. The mode is going to be edit because I want to edit the existing records. And so now for editing, it will ask me how actually the portal is going to recognize which record to edit. Since we are passing the ID of the record in URL, so I'll go with query string, and it will automatically say ID. If you have changed this string to something else on the entity list, so you might want to change it here as well for it to work properly. Now I'll say start a portal and I'll just save this form. Now what I need to do is I want to attach this form to this specific page. I'll clear the cache once again. Come back here, refresh this page so that it has all the latest configuration. So once this page is loaded, I'll follow the same procedure of editing this page and then assigning an entity form to this page. Let this load first. Okay, while this is loading, we can do one other thing. On this form here, we have subgrids for skill and technology. So let's add those so it's like replicated. I'm going to add entity form metadata. What it does is it identifies each of the individual components, and then if we want, we can add configuration to these subgrids like add new records or update the existing ones. Here I can select the technology grid, and in here I want to associate the technology to the record that I select. So I'm going to select the associate button here and select the active technologies view. So let's save it because we just want to be able to associate. So I am going to do select only the associate option. Let's go back to my entity form here, and I'll select new entity form metadata. here I'm going to again select a subgrid, but this time I'm going to select the skill subgrid. So it will again load this grid configuration for me, and if I want to associate, I can add the active skills, and I'll save this record. So what we have done now is we have a form here, and on for the two subgrids on this form, I have created the entity form metadata. But what about the permissions? So again, I'll go to the entity permissions here. I'll click on new and create a permission for technology. Technology, and the website is going to be the same, starter portal. Scope, I'm keeping it global for now, and I want to read it, we don't want to write it. We can select append and append, and I'll create a similar one for skills. And then the website is going to be the same. Scope is global, read, append, and append to. And I need to assign web roles to both of these, so I'll select this web roles as admin and authenticated users. So for skills it's added, but let's go and add it for technology permission as well. Reader authenticated users. So my permissions are added all well. I'll go here and clear the cache. Let me refresh this page. Try to open it somewhere else. Okay, the page is open, it's blank because we have not attached the form yet. I'll come here on the entity form, I'll select this demo entity form and click save. So now when this page is loaded, I can see that there is a form where it has a name for the candidate, the details about country, city, and the status reason. If we want, we can change these titles as well. But here, if I take a look at this one, I can see that there is a parent-child filter for technology and skills. If I so if I want to add a skill here, I can see that there are different technologies that exist. It's Amazon, AWS, Azure, and Office 365. But here, the basic filtering which I would want to implement, something like if I have selected a parent technology in the first grid, I may want to be able to only see those skills which are associated to selected technologies. In that case, how can I add a filter or some kind of a you can say some kind of additional functionality where it is doing this filter automatically and only displaying those records which are meaningful after the technology selection. So this is where we can add some script to this page, and with that script we'll be able to filter the results. So if I click on this parent associate grid now, so it is showing me all the records, and if I click on the skills one, it is still showing me all the records. So for adding the script, I'll duplicate this page because I want to get the ID of these subgrids. So here I have a script already in place, which is like I'll quickly explain this one first. So here it is going to trigger on the when the page is completely loaded, and then it will pick the child subgrid, and it will recognize this associate button here. So whatever I'm seeing on the right side of this line, it's for recognizing that specific button. Once that button is recognized and on click of that button, I am adding certain operations. So what it will do is it will pick up this when this child button is clicked, it will pick the parent subgrid and pick out all the names that we have. Once it has an array of all the names in technology subgrid, it will apply a filter on these on this second subgrid and only show the records where the technology is inside that array. So this is what it is doing here. First, it is picking out the parent subgrid and getting all the technology list names. Then it is pushing it to this technology list array. And once that grid is the associate, where if I click on this associate button, there will be a grid loaded on the page. Once that grid is loaded, is in the loaded state, it will pick all its children. And here, because the name of the field is with the publisher name and then the field name, so you can pass the logical name here if it differs in your case, but for mine it was technology, so I have taken it already. And so then it will check if the technology list has this value, so whatever value we are going to see in the associate grid. If the value exists, then it will show the row. If the value does not exist, then it will hide that row. So this is the code what we have in place. I'll copy this. I'll go to edit again, and I'll go to options, and in the custom script I'll add this. There are a few things we need to change. One is like the ID of the child subgrid. That's why I duplicated this page here. So I'll inspect this, and on the right side if I scroll up, so if I hover over this div ID, it is picking my whole, you can say, the control for this whole subgrid. And here the ID is skill grid. So I can copy that, and instead of child subgrid ID, I can pass skill grid. And the same I'm going to do for the parent subgrid. So I'll scroll up a little bit, and the ID for this is technology grid. So I copied both of these. I'll paste this as is, and then let's save this. So after saving this script, where it was showing all these skills in this second subgrid, now it should only show the skills which are there for the technology, like which exist for AWS and Azure. I select associate button. Now the script has like worked, and I can only see uh, the records where the technology is either Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure. And if I want to, let's say, associate another one, let's say I'll say Google Cloud, I'll add this. And if I click on associate again, so now I can see this app modernization which comes under Google Cloud. So with this script, what you can pass the control IDs, and with that you can pick out which records you actually want to show. If there is something you cannot do with the entity permissions, you can anytime do it with this script. If you want to refer to this script, it's available on my blog. So if you want to refer it from there, it's available. So our form is ready. We have the details. We can filter it with the technology and then skills. Now let's go back to candidates. So this list here is a very simple list we have like built from the out of the box controls. But what if there is some data and I want to highlight it based on a specific criteria? So let's say I have a number of records here in this list, and I want to highlight the rows where status is in progress. I want maybe set the color as yellow. If the record is completed, then maybe set it to green. So what we can do is, again, I have a different script here. So I'll copy this one. And what this script do is, so it is again loaded on the page once the page is like ready to be uh, completed. And then it will fetch all the records here. So one thing worth noticing is like, even though the name of this column here, it's status reason, but if I inspect this, there is a logical name associated with it. So if I go back up here, and if I expand this, so area label says status reason. And what we are picking from the script is like where the data attribute is status code. So if I select any of the rows here instead of the column, let's say I select this. So here if I go in, I can see that the data attribute is status code. So this is how we can, pick the values from these tables and specify a color for each row. So what this code do is like it gets all the records in the exist. It finds this status code column because I want to color this list based on the value I have in status code column. And since the status code is an option set field, there is a unique number associated with it. So I have passed number, but if in case I want to apply this logic on the name field, instead of passing the number here, I can pass the value in double quotes like this. So here the code, it's like it will fetch the value of the status code column, then it will check which option it actually corresponds to. So if the status was, I guess, so here I have not written the actual values for the status options, but instead of let me come back here for the candidate B record, and I'll try to change the status from in progress to something else. So it says registered, in progress, rejected, and accepted. So I'll select accepted. Now, if I come back to my page here and I refresh this, let me go back to the code once again. So now it is, the logic here is like it checks for the value, and based on the option that is selected, it is going to assign a background color to the row. PR element in HTML tag refers to a row. So that's how all the rows are colored here. I'll copy this and let this page load. Okay, it's loaded. I'll select edit and I'll select the option here. So here I don't need to change anything because I have already updated this as status code. But if in case your data attribute key differs, you can change it from here. I'll save this. And because my data was not updated, I'll clear the cache real quickly. Okay, so because I have applied the code and for in progress the color says yellow, I just cleared out the cache and so that this candidate B record shows as accepted. So the color should change. Let this page load. Yeah, right here. So here I can see that because my status reason is in progress, the color passed was yellow. That's why it's highlighting this row in yellow. And if the status was accepted, the row is highlighted in somewhere green. So this is about like how you can highlight the row. But if in case you want to uh, you can say you want to edit any of the other attributes, you can also do that. So where we are, selecting this specific row, instead of selecting this row, you can select the element which you want to highlight or modify. And the same way you can pass custom CSS, and those changes will be reflected based on the conditions that you have applied. So this is about like how you can add the out of the box controls and add scripts to you can say highlight the functionalities. But let's say if I have a condition where I don't want to display the records as is from my lists, I want to create a custom, you can say, design of my own. I want to build a page which has my own design based on the guidelines of my you can say my client guidelines or any document that I want to refer. In that case, what do we do? This is like we can make minor changes to this, like the design on, if I want to update these drop downs to maybe look more beautiful, I can do that. But what if I want to build a structure like this? So this is like a custom HTML page. I have taken this code from a answer on Stack Overflow. So what it does is it's a responsive page where there is an image and then there is a title and then there is a description for that specific image. What we are going to do now is I'll have an entity in my CDS, and that entity is going to store a name, then a description, and then finally there will be a URL for this image. So I have already created that entity and filled in the records for it. Let me open that. And the name of this entity is landscapes. If I go to data here and I select the custom fields, So there is a name, there is an image description, and then there is an image URL. The data that I have picked here is taken from a travel blog on travel.earth. So this is like from where I have referred to this data. Now let me go back on the portal application and open this landscapes page. Right now the page is empty because we don't have anything configured as part of it. Let me open the code behind this a.html file I just opened here. So this is a HTML document where there is like a container, and then inside of that container there are different boxes for each of these, like image and then title and then description. So we are going to follow the same code, and then there is some styling added as part of it, so it's like it's rendered properly on the screen. So I'll go back here on the entity. Let me I'll go back to the web page, and then I'll select this landscapes page. I'll go to the localized content. So in here I am going to paste that HTML code, but before I do that, let me get the fetch XML for this landscapes entity. So I'll quickly open the advanced find window. So here I'm going to select the landscapes entity. Okay, it's selected. Then I only want to pick the status where the status is active or all the active landscapes. So that is like picked. And if I go to see the results, it will get me like all the 6 records which I have. But here for our design purpose, we want the description and image URL column as well. So let's add those columns because it's not added as part of my active view. I'll add a columns here, image description and image URL. Select those. I'll select on this created on and remove it because it's not needed. I'll click OK. And now I'll download the fetch XML here. If I open this file, let's open it on a notepad. So here I can see that it is a fetch XML query where I have the entity name and all the attributes that I want to get. And then there is an order for sorting, and finally the filter for the condition because I wanted to only show the active landscape. So this is how it is, like my fetch XML. I'll copy this. I'll go back to my landscapes page. I'll go to this page copy and the HTML version of it. Now I'll use liquid programming language to actually, get data from this fetch XML. So I'll write fetch XML, and you can say this is like a variable which is going to store all the records. So I'll say my query underscore, and then I want to close this fetch XML. So it will be end fetch XML, and I want to paste this fetch XML query here. One other thing is like when I exported this fetch XML from advanced find, the attribute tags, they are not closed properly. But and what the page copy or the HTML format of this web pages, it requires a properly formatted XML. Otherwise, it will add these attribute tags at the end of this, like after filter, and that will not be a properly written fetch XML. So I'm going to replace all of these with attribute. Same I should do for, and then the same for. Now my fetch XML is properly formatted and it has like all the closing and opening attributes. So here the data is in this my query landscapes variable. Now let me copy the code that exists for this graphic. So I'll copy this whole thing and I'll paste this here, because we are going to iterate over all the records that we fetched in this my query landscape variable. I am going to remove these other, like all the boxes. So I'll format this. Okay. So now I have a container here and there is like a box inside. Container is an already existing class that we have in PyRap's portals and we don't update that configuration. So here I'll change this class as custom container and this to like custom box. Now I want to iterate over all the loops here. So I'll say something like for result in, and then I'll pick this reference I created for all results in this dot. And instead of image, I want to pass the dot the URL of the image, which is inside this attribute. So I am going to paste that here. And instead of the hello box, which is the title, I want to paste my own title. So which is something like ptd underscore name. And then finally for the description, I'll remove this and pass the actual description, which is like this. And since we started this for but it is not closed, so I'll add that as well and my for. So here the code is ready. I have this container here, and inside of that I am iterating over all the records which are returned from these landscapes. One other thing is like the styling. So here we have a few styles, so I'm going to copy that and paste it in the advanced and then finally to the custom CSS. Here I'm going to rename this class to what I changed in my code. I mean, for this demo, I am writing all this inside the custom CSS for the web page. But in case if you have like you want to repeat this on multiple pages, you can create a CSS file and add that as a web file. So my CSS is in place, my code is also in place. Now let me save this, go back to the admin page, and if I refresh this page, it will not show me anything. The reason is even though all the code and everything is in place, it, it doesn't have any permissions to show those records. So I'll go to entity permissions here. I'll select this, add a permission for landscape, and I'll select the website as well. Data portal. I want the global scope here because I want to show all the records, and then there will be a read access only. And I'll save this. For the web roles, I am again going to select only administrators and authenticated users. That's done. Again, I'm coming here to clear the cache. Once it's done, I'll refresh this page. So now it should get me all the records which are there in the landscape entity along with the pictures and the design we have selected. So here, as I can see that it has like 6 different items as part of this uh, design that I have created. And if I go back to my entity here, I can see that it has like this Altai mountains, and then these are the only 6 records which are displayed here along with the images. And if I want to make any changes to this page, there is no need to come at this page and edit the page copy. All the changes they can be done by anyone by using a model driven app or something, and everything can be managed in the back end. We just need to clear the cache and the changes will be reflected on all the portals. So if you want to embed this in a different design or something, that's like totally doable. The most important thing is like when you're writing this fetch XML. So here if let's say I got all the details here, and the fields that I was using, they were pretty straightforward because they were all like single line of text. But in case you have a lookup field or an option set field, then instead of like something like result dot field name, then you can fetch the other attributes out of it. For a lookup, it can be the lookup name, and for an option set field, you can use label to fetch the label of that specific option. So this is how you can, add your custom designs here, add the entity permissions, and be able to, display designs on all your pages. So that was pretty much I had for the demos today. Now we can take a look at the questions. So Arpit, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Ritika. Thank you, Ritika, for covering everything related to the data management in the portal. So we understood that how effectively we can use the entity form, entity list, fetch XML, and the content snippet. So at the end of the session, I'm going to cover few best practices related to that. So you must join this session. But I would like to share few things related to the entity forms and the entity list that we often do such kind of mistakes, like when we create the entity list, we often forget to associate with all the localized content which is associated with the web page, right? So localized content is basically is associated with your multilinguality of the portal. So if you have enabled 5 languages in your portal, then 5 localized content will get created. So what happens sometimes is when we create a web page and we associate our entity list or the entity form with the web page, and sometimes when we remove the entity list or entity form from the lookup of the web page and we associate it again. So sometime it happens, maybe it's a bug in the portal, it doesn't reflect on all the localized content associated with that web page. So sometimes what happen is when you associate that entity list to the web page, but it still doesn't render on the portal. So just make sure that that list and the form is associated with all the entity list. Okay. And the second thing I just wanted to let everyone know about the content snippet. So like the content snippet is the best way to manage all the content on the portal. So I would always recommend to not to for this demonstration purpose we have kept our that string or the text message directly on the web template code. But you should always keep that content snippet in your that hard coded message or the text in your localized in your content snippet, so that in future if you are enabling the portal for the multiple languages, you don't face issue to change the languages, because content snippet supports the multi languages. So you should always use the content snippet if you are using any text messages or the string messages or the content on the portal. And rest of the best practices I will share at the end of the session, so please join. And this I will be covering all the best practices related to the Power Apps portal components, including entity forms, list, web templates, liquid templates, site settings, site markers, everything. So I think let's have a look what questions are there in the chat window. I think Victor is asking, can you pass us the custom JavaScript to highlight records depending on some fields value?
Yes, so it's there on my blog. I'll share the link. So this is the blog I have, and so I mean, in this I have explained all about like how you can even apply it on different kind of fields. So if the status reason was an option set, and if you want to apply it on a single line of text field, then how you can do it. So I'll paste that on the chat. Here we go.
Hope Victor, this answer your question. Please confirm that. Perfect. I don't think we have some other questions. I think someone is asking about the character limit. So I would always recommend, if you have, please try to reduce your custom JavaScript as much as possible, because it may impact your portal performance as well. So if your JavaScript is exceeding more than 10,000 characters, then you must use some alternative to reduce that JavaScript. Otherwise, it will definitely impact the portal performance. Yeah. Can we edit fetch XML of entity list? Is the question from Ayush. Ayush, we didn't get your question exactly what you're trying to ask. Can you edit fetch XML of entity list? What do you mean by this question?
I was just asking, can we edit the fetch XML of entity list on portal? Because I want to show some data that is, and where I want to apply different fetches XML based on the condition. I just wanted to edit the fetch XML of entity list when page load.
So you are looking for to have a kind of editor like the way we can edit directly the web page on the portal?
Yeah, entity list on web page. Yeah, correct. Not using metadata. I'm not talking about the metadata feature.
So you are looking for directly edit the fetch XML from the portal, is it?
Correct, correct.
No, I don't think you can directly edit the entity form, the entity list, and the web template directly from the portal right now. You can only edit the web page. Correct me, Ritika, if I'm wrong. So I don't think we have any direct option available to edit the fetch XML from the portal. You have to go into the CRM and do the direct changes there only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
I just question. So, let me
Mhm.
complete my scenario. I
Mhm.
want to show the record which is related to uh, user portal user, but there is one more filter. Like portal user has a custom email ID text field. I want to filter data by by that text field, and every user will have different data on that field.
So you want to filter the data based on the logged in user and the logged in user email ID, is it?
No, no, not logged in user email ID. There would be custom free text field, and user will enter the email ID of his supervisor or his boss.
Okay, but why you want to use the fetch XML for this purpose? Can't you use the entity list for that and enable the search option to search the record based on the email ID?
No, no, no. I don't want to give him search option. I want to filter the data. That is the
So the
requirement.
so another option, if you don't want to use the out of box entity list option, then what you can do is there is a there is a search web template out of box available in the portal. So just have a look. There is a search web template available. So what that search web template does is you can simply provide a HTML text box on whichever page you want to provide that search capability. You just create a search box, enter the your text email ID, whatever you want to search, and that search actually the records based on the query parameter. So it works in that fashion. It actually pass the text box information to your URL, and that URL helps you to filter the records available on the page.
But if email ID is pre-filled, and that in that case, actually, I don't want user to do any manual filtration.
Um, Sorry to interrupt. I think Ayush, we can discuss it offline. So
Okay, okay, okay.
we have a Q&A session at the last, and if we were not able to answer you in the limited time, then you can definitely ping to Arpit for more detailed implementation,
Okay,
because he
okay.
need to understand the exact scenario. Then he can suggest the best way for you, or anyone speakers from the list.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
So,
can get in touch with me, at the end of my session so that we can have a quickly chat with in the detailed requirement. Yeah,
yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much.
thanks a lot. Yeah. I think Kundan is asking, we can use web template to build custom web API which will provide filtered. Okay, he's answering the question. Okay. Actually, Arpit, I was
trying to answer the answer of the previous question.
Mhm.
So basically, what we can do is like on change of that free text field, we can call a web template. Like web template, if we provide a fixed XML over there, we can use it as a web API in the portal, right? So on change of the text field, we can call that web template, and it will pass the data. It will source the data.
Yeah, that is also the solution, but I hope I understood his requirement correctly. So I'll take that up at the end of the session if still he didn't get his answer, because there are a couple of ways to achieve that, but I need to understand his requirement first correctly. But anyways, thanks Kundan, thanks for your solution. Thank you, Ritika. I think we have covered all the answers in the chat window. I think one more question is there. How would you show images that are only restricted to the logged in user?
So, hey Kennedy, when you are saying images, where are they coming from? Because I want to, get if they are coming from a CDS entity or you are just passing a URL.
Hi, just to clarify, I just want to know where the images would be stored if we only wanted them to be restricted to logged in users. Would they be stored in the CDS? Would we store them in SharePoint, or would we store them in Azure on a blob storage? But the requirement is that they should only be visible to logged in users. Where would you store those images?
So, I mean, if you are saving these images as part of records in your entity, you can apply the entity permissions like I followed in the example during the demo. But if in case that image or that image is passed as a URL, then you can restrict it on the page level. So if you want, you can show these images to specific logged in users that can be controlled using web page access controls. But for the individual images, I don't think that is like a feature available, but I can check and get back to you on that.
All right, thank you.
All right, if
Okay.
there are no
Yeah.
more questions,
I think
thank you
we are
everyone.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or if you want to connect to me at any later point, please feel free to do. I'll be happy to help. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritika. Please be so kind to share your contact details and your social media channels on the chat so that people can directly get in touch with you if they have any queries.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.